Well, when you buy a physical game for the Nintendo Switch 2, there's a chance that the game will not be included on the cartridge. Yes, this seems to be, in many ways, I would say the final sort of nail in the coffin. We knew this was coming. The size of these games is just so massive. Will they be able to fit on a Nintendo Switch cart? And we got that announcement today. Here is what they said.
This is the game card for Nintendo Switch 2 titles. It's the same shape as Nintendo Switch game cards, but it's now red and it has much faster data reading speeds.
All right, so let's unpack this a little bit. So now it's important to say this won't apply to all Nintendo Switch 2 games. Many of them will be complete on cartridge. And honestly, that's one of the things I love about Nintendo, or at least Nintendo Switch games, is that you're not getting these massive day one patches. Usually when Nintendo ships one of their games, there's no download needed, no download required. It plays fully. Now, we had games like Tears of the Kingdom, of course, that had a day one patch. Some other games occasionally have those day one patches. But for the most part, like Super Mario Brothers Wonder or Super Mario Wonder, no patches on day one. You're getting the complete game on the cartridge. Well, now we know that that's the case, not the case here. You're going to have these new... Let's take a look at this. This is the new Switch cartridges here. And they're going to have, some of these cartridges are going to have this game key card, like white banner on the Switch 2 case. And by the way, I'm still not sure how I feel about these new Switch 2 cases. I was hoping for something maybe more distinctive, maybe like a blue case, to be able to sat next to your red cases or something, sort of how we had the white Nintendo Wii boxes next to blue Nintendo Wii U boxes. I just distinctly to be able to look at them on the shelf. I don't know how the spines are going to look yet, but anyway, I digress. So here we have this game card banner that's going to be across the bottom of these games where you will just get the Switch 2 cartridge and it'll be a game key card that you just plug into the Nintendo Switch and then it'll know that you own the game and it's just a license on that cartridge. There's nothing else on that cartridge. Half of the game is not there. 1/4 of the game is not there. Just the key cartridge is there, just the license for the game. Plug that into your Nintendo Switch and then it says, hey, great, you own this game? Download. So, okay, well, I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But I think that this is a sign, this is sort of like the final death throes. This is like the final death throes for physical media. I mean, I'm a physical media guy. I don't like these companies telling me that I own the game or just like a license to the game. What happens when they want to take those things away from us, like Kindle, like Amazon does with Kindle books? Just, sorry, it's just not in your library anymore. Gone. We decided that you don't own it anymore. Sony, taking away your movies. There's all sorts of stories about this. I know everyone praises Steam right now and Valve, but what happens when those games suddenly disappear from your Steam library? People say, no, that's never going to happen. 10 years from now, as you're upgrading your PC and you just log into Steam, like, what if Steam's not around anymore? What if Steam gets bought out? What if licenses expire? What if you don't have access to your games anymore digitally? So this is a concern. I'm bothered by the idea of I pay money and these companies can just take my digital media away. So we got an indication of what some of these games are going to look like, but let's just kind of walk through history a little bit here. So take a look. This is Nintendo Switch. These are the original Nintendo Switch games, Nintendo Switch 1 games. Sorry for the giant banner up here at the top, but you can see I never buy, when I see these games at the store with these giant white banners for the Nintendo Switch that say full game download, and it's just a code in a box. I hate these codes in a box. Now, the only reason I would like a code in the box is for like giving a birthday present or like a Christmas gift or something like that. It's just a nicer sort of presentation for someone to be able to rip open, some Christmas wrapping and see a game. And kids, kids don't care about these download codes. They don't know the difference, right? They're just going to look at the name of the game and they're going to put it in their Switch. They're going to say, thank you, mommy and daddy, and they're going to be happy about it. But it's me that's unhappy about it. So now let's take a look at the new Switch 2 cartridges. And here they are. So these are already on sale, or pre-orders are coming up here on Target. I don't know if Amazon's going to carry any first-party Nintendo stuff because usually they don't, actually. So will we just have Target, Walmart, GameStop, other places? But anyway, these are a look at some of the cartridges here. So you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I want to take a look at this, what this is saying down here at the bottom. For Kirby, includes so this one, for instance, the Kirby game, includes the Nintendo Switch game and Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack. Upgrade pack also available separately for purchase. So I don't like this giant thing here on the on the packages either. Like, why do we need this like little bit of like data? Like, don't tell me that. I don't know if there's some sort of rule that they have to do that. But like Bravely Default, okay? Bravely Default game key card right here. See, no game. Now you mean to tell me that this game is larger in size than Donkey Kong Bonanza, which doesn't have it? You get the full game cartridge right there for the Nintendo Switch when you buy Donkey Kong Bonanza. There's no banner. So you're getting the full game on the cartridge. A full 3D Donkey Kong, and then Bravely Default, which is an old game. What is it? 3D or DS game or 3DS game? Did it come out before that? I think it's 3DS, right? Or DS. And it's an HD remaster. I get that. But you mean to tell me that this game is larger in size than Donkey Kong Bonanza? So when you get this game, you're just getting the download game key card. You plug that into your Switch, and you're off to the races. You got to download the game. So that is a concern of mine. Let's look at some of the others. Like, okay, Mario Kart World. You get the full game on the cartridge. So it seems like Nintendo is going to great lengths to make sure that their games are on the cartridge. Now, this was one I was really curious about because they have never released a complete Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom that has the whole game on the cartridge. Remember, when you got Tears of the Kingdom the first day, it had a day one patch. And I didn't even know if they might have even had like a second download at some point. But I do know day one patch so you had to get that download in order to play it. It fixed some language issue. You didn't need to download it, but anyway. So here, I was worried that they were going to release this and it was going to have like a code in the box. But it appears, from what I can tell, at least, that the whole game, the complete Legend of Zelda, plus this, the Switch 2 edition, is complete on cartridge. And this is a massive game. This is a huge game. Now, the original the Switch 1 cartridges, I think, capped out at 32 gigabytes. Most of them were about 16 gigabytes, but the larger games like Tears of the Kingdom were running a 32 gigabyte card. And now the new Switch 2 cartridges are going up to 64 gigabytes, from what I understand. So take, for instance, Street Fighter 6, which was announced at the Nintendo Switch Direct, game key card for Street Fighter 6. And let me see what any other ones are listed here as well. Then, of course, you get the download code in the box for Mario Kart for the Switch edition, the Switch 2 bundle, if you get that. And Breath of the Wild also does not have a download code in the box. So the way that these cartridges are going to work is these new red cartridges, they're going to look the exact same. So the red cartridge in the box this time, there won't just be a piece of paper that has a code on it. It'll actually have a cartridge, but it won't have the game on it for these ones that have the key card. It'll just be a key card with a license code on it. You pop it in the Switch 2 and it'll find go to the store, download it right there for you. Need internet access, of course. Now, my question is, what happens if, Nintendo's servers go offline or they decide to shut it down, or what happens? Will I ever be able to download this game again? I have a license for it. 15 years from now, if I want to pop it in my Switch, will I be able to download this game 15 years from now? I like to go back to old games that I haven't played in, a long, long time. What happens to that game? And what happens if I have already downloaded it on my Switch and I want to hand it over to my daughter to play it? Does it know that I already downloaded it on this Switch? Do I have to delete it off of my Switch in order to lend it to my daughter to play? We don't know. But I think this is clearly a sign that physical media is dying. I'm sad about it. I'm sad, but I'm also curious the size of some of these larger games. We saw a lot of big new third-party titles, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, which according to the data I was looking at today, it caps out at 50 gigabytes for the download for Cyberpunk 2077. We got this new, we got the new FromSoft game that was announced. Dusk Brothers. I can't remember the name of it. How big will these games? So are all of these like third-party games? What about Hogwarts Legacy? Are all of these third-party games going to have the code in the box, the key card logo on the front of the box? So is almost your entire Switch library going to be codes in a box, basically, key cards, licensed key cards? And then why buy them? Why not just download the, what's the incentive? What's the incentive to get these key cards? Is it for birthday presents? Or is it that I can actually transfer it to somebody else, or that I'll be able to get the game 15 years from now if I want to download it? Who knows? Nintendo can promise us that, no, you'll be able to get these downloads in perpetuity. But companies change and servers close and storefronts close down. 3DS, DS store closed down. Wii U store closes down. So how long will we have access to these games digitally if we decide to go this route? For me, it's like I'm almost probably going to avoid buying Switch 2 games in this sort of key cartridge format. Like, I don't want these things. I don't want these things on my shelf that have code in a box. I'll buy, I'm definitely buying Legend of Zelda, the updated enhanced version for the Switch 2. I'm definitely buying Kirby for this new add-on here, this new like DLC, and my daughter loves the game, so I'll definitely get that. But like Bravely Default, like why would I buy just this box? Just might as well just get the damn digital download, unless there's some benefit that I'm missing here, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And I'm really curious how many of these Nintendo Switch games are gonna be like this, and how many will physically have the full game on the cartridge, and how many will be on my shelf. I guess that's the real question. But I think this is a clear sign right now from Nintendo, because Nintendo was really, I think, the big holdout here. Nintendo had very few of these like codes in a box that you would see in the Switch 1. If you went to a Best Buy or something and you looked at Switch games, very few of these had these codes in the box. And I know that physical games in Japan is still incredibly popular, and Japanese, so that was still a huge driver here. So maybe Nintendo has found a way around this with this key card problem for these licenses, and maybe that's great. Maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see how it folds out. Unfolds, I guess. Folds out, unfolds. What do you guys think about this? Do you think this is like the death nail for physical games? Or do you think that Nintendo has like solved the issue here with these digital key cards? Anyway, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out. I've been knee deep in all of this Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, and I'm really excited about it. So thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.